Welcome to Business Boy, where smart ideas build wealth. What if I told you that one simple money habit could completely change the way you handle your money in just 30 days? No, I'm not talking about a secret investment. I'm not talking about cryptocurrency. And I'm definitely not talking about some magic trick that turns $1 into 1,000 overnight. I'm talking about something much simpler. Tracking every dollar you spend. I know, that doesn't sound exciting. You might even be thinking, that's it? But here's the problem. Most people don't actually know where their money goes. They know how much they earn. They know when their account balance is low. But ask them where the money went, and suddenly their memory develops amnesia. I don't know. Food, transport, subscriptions. Imagine two people. Let's call them Daniel and Mike. Both earn the same amount of money every month. They have similar responsibilities. They even live in the same area. But somehow, Daniel always seems to have money left over while Mike is constantly wondering where his salary disappeared. One day, Mike decides to find out. He starts writing down every expense. On Monday, he spends money on breakfast. Tuesday, transportation. Wednesday, snacks. Thursday, another online purchase. Friday, he sends money to a friend. Saturday, he orders food. Sunday, another small expense. None of these purchases seem huge. That's the problem. A small expense doesn't feel dangerous. $5 doesn't seem like much. $10 doesn't seem like much. $20 doesn't seem like much. But when those small expenses happen again and again, they start becoming a much bigger number. It's like having a small hole in a bucket. You might not notice the water disappearing immediately, but eventually, you look inside, and the bucket is empty. Money works the same way. The goal isn't to stop yourself from spending money. The goal is to finally see where your money is going, because you can't properly control something you don't measure. Now here's where the 30-day challenge begins. For the next 30 days, create a simple list. You don't need an expensive budgeting app. You don't need a financial advisor. You can use the Notes app on your phone. Create 4 categories: food, transportation, bills, and everything else. Every time you spend money, write it down. For example, food, $20. Transport, $15. Data, $20. Entertainment, $30. Don't judge yourself while you're recording it. Just be honest. Because if you start hiding expenses from yourself, you're basically lying to the person who needs the information the most. And here's where things get interesting. After the first 7 days, look at your list. You might discover something surprising. Maybe you're spending much more on food than you thought. Maybe transportation is taking a huge part of your income. Maybe you're spending money on subscriptions you barely use. Or maybe you're buying things simply because they're convenient. The first week isn't about fixing everything. It's about discovering your patterns. Because awareness. Now let's move into week 2. This is where you start separating your expenses into 2 groups. Needs and wants. Needs are things you genuinely have to pay for. Food. Basic transportation. Important bills. Necessary expenses. Wants are things you can live without. Extra takeout. Impulse purchases. Entertainment. Things you bought because they looked nice. And here's something important. I'm not telling you to eliminate every want. That's not realistic. If you spend every day thinking, I must never enjoy my money, you'll eventually become so frustrated that you might spend everything in one weekend. The goal is balance. Instead, ask yourself one question before buying something. Do I actually need this? Or do I simply want it right now? That 5-second pause can save you money. Imagine you're about to spend $150 on something. Stop. Ask yourself, would I still want this tomorrow? If the answer is no, don't buy it. You just made $150 more available for your future. And here's the funny part. Sometimes we don't even want the thing. We just want the feeling of buying something. Then 2 days later, the product is sitting in the corner while we're wondering why we bought it. Now let's talk about the habit that can make this challenge even more powerful. Pay yourself first. Here's what that means. When money comes into your account, don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left. Because if you wait, there might be nothing left. Instead, decide on an amount to save before you start spending. It could be 5%. It could be 10%. It could be a fixed amount that makes sense for your income. The important thing is consistency. Even if the amount looks small, you're building a habit. Let's say you earn $2,000. You decide to put $200 aside immediately. Now you have $1,800 to work with. Instead of spending first and saving whatever magically survives, you save first. And here's where people make a mistake. They think, $200 won't make me rich. Maybe not. But the point isn't that 1 month of saving will make you rich. The point is that you're training yourself to keep part of what you earn. And that behavior becomes extremely valuable as your income increases. If you can't manage $200 properly, earning $2,000 more won't automatically solve the problem. You may simply spend more. Now we're entering week 3. This is where you look for your biggest money leaks. Go through your first 2 weeks. Look at every category. Then ask, what expense can I reduce without making my life miserable? Maybe you spend $300 every month eating outside. Could you reduce that to $200? Maybe you're paying for 3 subscriptions you barely use. Cancel one. Maybe you're constantly buying things online because you see them advertised. Unfollow some of those pages. Maybe you're spending more on transportation than necessary. Look for alternatives. The goal isn't to become cheap. It's to become intentional. There's a huge difference. A cheap person asks, how can I spend as little as possible? A financially smart person asks, is this expense actually worth my money? Sometimes spending more is the better decision. If something saves you time, improves your work, or helps you earn more, it may be worth it. The question isn't, is this expensive? The question is, does this move me forward? That's a much better question. Now here's where the challenge gets really interesting. Week 4 isn't just about cutting expenses. It's about increasing your income. Because there are 2 sides to building wealth. You can reduce unnecessary spending, but you can also increase what you earn. So during the final week, ask yourself, what skill could I learn that someone would actually pay me for? Maybe graphic design, video editing, copywriting, social media management, sales, programming, photography, writing, or something completely different. You don't need to become an expert in 30 days. You just need to start. Spend an hour each day learning. Practice. Create something. Offer your service. Talk to potential customers. Because here's the bigger lesson. Saving money is useful, but increasing your earning ability can completely change your financial situation. If you save $100 by cutting unnecessary expenses, that's good. But if you develop a skill that eventually allows you to earn an additional $1,000, that's a completely different level. So don't just ask, how can I spend less? Ask, how can I become more valuable? Now let's return to Daniel and Mike. After 30 days, Mike finally looks at his spending, and he's shocked. He discovers that he was spending hundreds of dollars every month on things he barely remembered buying. Small purchases, impulse purchases, convenience purchases. Nothing seemed serious individually, but together, they were draining his money. So he makes changes. He reduces unnecessary expenses. He starts saving first. He becomes more careful with purchases, and he begins learning a skill that can increase his income. Daniel, meanwhile, has been doing something similar for years. That's why his financial situation looks different. The difference wasn't necessarily that Daniel was earning dramatically more. He simply developed better money habits. And that's the point of this 30-day challenge. I'm not promising that tracking your spending for 30 days will magically make you rich. That's not how wealth works. But it can help you become more aware, more disciplined, more intentional, and those habits can eventually lead to better financial decisions. So here's your 30-day challenge. Starting today, track every dollar you spend. Don't skip the small purchases. Don't hide the embarrassing ones. Don't say, it's only $5. Write it down. At the end of every week, review your spending. Ask yourself, where did most of my money go? What did I spend that I didn't really need? What can I reduce? What can I save? And most importantly, how can I increase my income? Then create one simple rule for yourself. Before every unnecessary purchase, wait 24 hours. If you still want it tomorrow and you can genuinely afford it, then consider buying it. But if you completely forget about it, congratulations. You just saved money without feeling like you sacrificed anything. And remember, the goal isn't to stop enjoying life. Money is supposed to serve you. The goal is to stop letting money disappear without knowing where it went. Because when you control your money, you give yourself more choices. So, will this money habit literally make you rich in 30 days? Probably not. And anyone promising you guaranteed riches in 30 days should immediately make you suspicious. But can 30 days of tracking your money change the way you think about spending? Absolutely. And that change can be the beginning of something much bigger. Because wealth isn't usually built from one giant decision. It's built from small decisions repeated for years. Save a little. Invest wisely. Learn valuable skills. Increase your income. Avoid unnecessary debt. And most importantly, know where your money is going. So start your 30-day challenge today. Grab your phone, open your Notes app, write today's date, and record your first expense. It doesn't matter if it's $2 or $2,000. Start, because the person who controls their money has a much better chance of controlling their financial future. If you found this video useful, subscribe to Business Boy for more simple ideas about money, business, and building wealth. And remember, welcome to Business Boy, where smart ideas build wealth.